Hello, I'm Delia Codes, and this is my node first node project stream. So, last time, it's been a little bit since I've streamed, mostly because I was doing some tooling setup. Last time, I think that last time we did two things. Um, if I remember right, we did our first model, and then we started our jest kind of setup for testing MongoDB. So in the meantime, I had a lot of difficulty with Windows and getting Windows to appropriately test MongoDB um, with the right packages of jest and node. So it was kind of in jest. Well, there was jest, and then there was mock goose, and there was mongoose, and then there was all this other stuff. It was a pain, but I got through it. And like a lot of node tooling things, it works when it works. It's amazing, but when it doesn't, it's really annoying to troubleshoot. And this is a symptom of complexity. And when you have really complex tooling and a complex tool chain, that's the biggest thing. And I don't know if I can't wait for a simpler tool chain, but I feel like there ought to be one. And in fact, that's probably tweetable. Though I don't know. I don't know if that's quite tweetable. And here's why. I don't think it's quite tweetable for this reason. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Node, and then I'm talking about something else. When I talk about a simpler tool chain, does that actually mean that that's what I want, or does that mean that it would be very easy to say that very broadly, is the idea. So, yeah. Let's see here. Let me rub my nose because I feel like I have to sneeze. Forgive me. And then let me stream, or let me show my screen. And okay, great. Let's do this thing. Okay, so let me kill this terminal and open up another one, and I will run npm test. And you can see the gloriousness of my tooling. It's setting up a Mongo environment, and it's running tests. Hallelujah. And it's doing everything what it should be doing, and it kind of is there. So we're going to stop it here. And we are going to do -- watch here, and then okay. Great. And so that's just going to be hanging about. Let's open up another terminal in case we need one. And let's go. And so if you probably have noticed, this has changed quite a bit. It's not a bad thing. It's just kind of how it is. Some of this I can probably clean up. I don't know if I need test plane. I don't know if I need build watch. That sort of thing, but I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. My tests look good. So these are by client tests. I have one database test that I'm not really doing anything with right now, but it's there. And this all is working. So I'm like, yes, yay. Okay. So, and I got my variables and environment, or .env, and then I have a bunch of other stuff. Okay. So we had, and we have our model, we have our client, and we've got our app, and we've got our API, and we've got our server, and I think that's pretty good. Okay, so now we need our first endpoint. So the one other thing that I want to do is I want to see if we can do npm start. And just to kind of make sure that we know what we're looking at. And I need to do some tab cleanup. Oh my lord, do I need to do tab cleanup? This is what happens when you end up like working through like a ton of like random different things. All right, let's close all these tabs to the right. And then we'll open up localhost. And then we'll say localhost 8010. And voila. So let's check to make sure our operation is good. Get jest. Perfect. Now, of course, it only lets you add one meal. I mean, I can add multiple different sets of this get jest. Though it seems to add two at a time, which is kind of fascinating. Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, so let's document this as a bug in our GitHub really quickly. Okay, so let's create an issue. All right, new issue. So we're gonna say after first meal is added, multiple meals after first meal is added when adding an additional meal, multiple entries of first meal appear. All right. So let's see what label it should have. Bug. It is definitely a bug. No milestone. No assignee. Okay, we're gonna say tested on localhost. Need to confirm that it is also happening on Heroku. Okay, great. First issue. Yay! Okay, perfect. Okay, so we did that. We definitely have some commits that we've done. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do. So let's look at our to-do list, shall we? Our next kind of. So this is the feedback that I got. I think you've seen it, but anyway, it's a thing. So both of those are different other user stories that I really need to like work on. Right now, we need an endpoint for adding a meal. So what this means is that we need an endpoint pointing to our database to add a meal. Like right now it adds to, let's go with client. Right now it adds meal to DB, which is an API, I think. Let's see here. Yes, it is add meal to DB. It pushes to the our fake database, so-called KuberDB. So the idea is to get rid of KuberDB and replace it with an actual Mongo database. So what we need to do is we need to place it in a we need an actual endpoint to send things to an actual database. So I think this goes in app, but I'm actually not quite sure. I'm not quite sure where this should go. So let's comment that out. Should this code go in app.js? I mean, it kind of makes sense to me to put it in app. But again, I'm not absolutely 100% certain that that's where it should be. Also, let me open up the Restream chat and kind of work on that. Oh, I have to log in. My token expired. All right. Guess what? You get secret stuff because I have to look up my password. Okay. Now that I've got this logged in, I also managed to add this. I also managed to add this chat window right here. So y'all aren't just like, oh my god, secret stuff. What is going on here? I don't think I really want to have like a. I don't think I need like a separate chat window. I don't know. This is actually not a bad idea. I except for the fact that I kind of want to minimize it. All right, I'm gonna add it to the thing, and we're gonna find out what this is like. And we're gonna say window capture. Add existing window capture. But if I minimize it, does it go away? No, it does not. Okay, great. Very few people are probably going to chat me, but, you know, just in case. Though that also means that you can't see this left-hand side of the screen. Okay, I think I'm going to remove it. All right, thank you for walking with me through my setup. Okay, so let's see here. Works on localhost. Should I put it in app? I don't know. That is a very good question. They put it in, so this example that I've been kind of using puts it in its own like router. They don't have an app. They have like a router. And well, that, I mean, you know, I don't necessarily think that that's a problem. I think that that could be like super useful, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what I should be doing. You know what I mean? Because also notice that what they do in their models is they do like create and then like item and then like return item. And so they have like create and get, you know, so, and then I don't think this really does the database is the other thing to note. So let's look at my handy dandy express tutorial thing. Okay. So let's see here. So this is database, blah, 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 ORM, blah, blah, blah. We've done this-ish. Yep, we did that. Defined a schema. Created a model. Schema types. We've done that. Validation. Visual property. Yep, querying and modifying documents. Sort of. We can definitely query. We currently don't have a document, but we have set up a Mongo a thing. Define local library schema. Okay. Author model, book model, blah, blah, book. Interesting. Okay, great. So let's go with next. So we are on the right one. Okay, so routes. Okay, so HTTP in the way they're explaining it is that the HTTP I can't say this today. The HTTP request comes in and is routed to the controller. The controller sends the request response out, and using the view and the data and the model in the database. So comparing this with the, where is it? We're going to put this over here. Comparing this with this, so it has a model, it has a router, and then it has a server. The server sends this, which is essentially what we have right now. And it also has here an app.use and then an app.use, which serves the recipes and the shopping list. So let's kind of break this down. Okay. So, and I'm not sure if I'm going to necessarily add this in. I just want to kind of do this. Okay, so we need to add a router to take in the request. And then what else do we need to do? So we need an endpoint for adding meal. So that meal needs to route takes in request and routes to database. And then routes to the database using model. I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, I'm really not. I'm like, I mean, conceptually, I kind of sort of get it, but, I'm not sure if I completely get it. You know what I mean? Okay. Glad to see that there's no errors that happen when all of this does its thing. Okay. All right, so let's continue reading, shall we? Okay. Defining and using separate route models. Well, I mean, I think it's perfectly fine. Okay. And so we need an endpoint for adding a meal, which is a post. Okay, so let's go here. And let's roughly use between these two things, kind of have this as a template. All right. Const router equals express router. Great. Assigned a value but never used. Okay, that's perfectly fine. And then we're gonna say app dot. I think it's actually we want router dot post. And let's do our thing. And we're gonna put that to the side. Okay. And this does some fancy checking, which we, could use, but I think that And I don't necessarily think that we need it right now. Let's follow one of these. Okay, this is all like controller stuff, which is beyond what we're doing at this immediate function. Okay, simple, simple, simple. All right, app.post, and then we're gonna say that, and then we're gonna make a function, and we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna put a space, so this is happy, and then okay, so this is their check to see if it's the right thing, check to see if it's the right thing. And then in here, it's item equals shopping list dot create, and then it returns a status. Okay. Great. And it looks like I might need JSON parser. That might be useful. Maybe. So let's put a rec and res in here first. Which is a request and response. And then we're going to say return res dot status. $200. First off. Okay. I mean, it doesn't do much else. I feel like it should call the API. Because in here, it calls their model thing. But I don't necessarily know because this model is way complicated. And imagine testing this nightmare model. I mean, you could do shopping list.create. I mean, essentially it's an object of functions. And so it's like, well, you can do that. It kind of is like, okay. So we've at least got a thing. And actually, let's match what I've got here. Let's do send status 200. And then let's connect it up with our... I mean, the one thing I'm kind of like, I don't know if we need it to be... So let's look up what an express router is, because I guess one of the things that I don't entirely understand is This may actually give us what I want. Models. Okay. This is stuff that I was looking up earlier relative to the thing. View controllers. So let's see here. Controllers, helpers, models, and middleware. Okay. And then blah. Okay. So in other words, the way in which they're suggesting to do it is they're suggesting to not use app, but use something else. I kind of like the idea of breaking it up into its own like thing. That way I'm not getting confused between app.use and app.this and app.this. Okay, so let's add this to a comment in here. Looking at some blog posts, this one in particular, it looks like it should be its own router file. Which, admittedly is how the glitch code does it. But is kind of, I'm not sure if the glitch code is necessarily the way I ought to be doing this. I mean, it's useful, and I think it's awesome, but... Okay, yawn. Alright. Let's do this thing. So let's... No. Okay. And hopefully it doesn't open up. I'm wrong. Okay. So let's see here. What are we doing? We are removing this into its own file. Okay, great. So let's do... Let's copy that over. Equals require express. Let's cut this. And we have our new file. Adding, well, actually, I need to save this. Adding first route. Great. First commit of the night. Yay. I should do like some sort of happy dance or music or something. Whoa. That was louder than I expected. Cup management. So important. Okay. So, router equals express.router, blah, blah, blah. Great. What does it... Yes. Okay. So, we need to make this more of a... We need to make this more of like a thing. Let's check our terminals. Kind of make sure that we have no test failing. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Let's run all tests. Oh, right. I forget to run the database. Okay, let's try again, shall we? That's not good. My database is running. But, you know. Okay. So let's do MongoD. And let's run just one npm test. Okay. Let's try our npm test -- watch and see if we get a same error. Okay. That's really weird. Like, seriously weird. Okay, that's funny. Alright, I can play with that all day. That is like a subtle bug. because it only happens when I do -- watch and -- a. Because otherwise, just running npm test is perfectly fine. Okay, well, we did it, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. However, I will set up our npm test. Whoa, nope. npm test -- watch. We'll do that. And then we'll see if it crashes. Okay. So let's get on with writing. All right. Let's look at this. So what we need to do, actually, I think what we need to do is we need to look at not just our app, but we need to look at our client-ish. So right now we use, actually it's API. So what we want to do is we want to add Neil to DB. So we want to add it to DB. And so the easiest thing to do is to call, let's make sure, and client, I don't know if we need both of these actually. I think we just need this one. Oh. Nope. Let's see what happens if I run just test. Interesting. I mean, admittedly, I'm not running anything. I'm not running a MongoDB right then. But let's run it. And then let's run npm test. Okay. The other fun thing is that the okay. Now we've got our thing working. Okay. So what we should do is we should request. So what we should do is add meal to DB. Request dot body. And that's probably the simplest thing to do. Oh, here we go. Yeah, for some reason, watch really doesn't do well. Okay. Well, it's gonna have to be what it is. Well, the other thing that's interesting is that when I start a MongoD here, it's not the test isn't talking to that MongoD. So just starting it right here doesn't necessarily mean that it's doing the thing that we think it's doing. So I guess that's one of the other important things that I can think of, like, is that the MongoD isn't necessarily doing what we think it's doing. It's not trying to. I mean, which is why it's giving the the MongoD doesn't exist, really. So yeah, I don't know. I may need to open up the MongoD and then Mongo command line and do start, um, and see if that does it. So, but again, this is kind of set up in the the tricky toolchain stuff. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is right, but I'm gonna say call sends request body to the database. To the database API. Okay, cool. Of course, I'm not sure if this is what, I mean, well, this is definitely the home route. I'm not sure if that's actually like what it should be. Um, oh, well, what am I talking about? I'm gesturing at the wrong piece of code. So, while this is home, it may not necessarily need to be home. Right now, I think it is, but like I think later on it should be something else. Also, some cleaning up of the request body either here or in the API is probably a good idea too. But yeah. So let's see here, and let's look at our. Okay. So right now we're ready to push to the MongoDB right here. So okay. I think we're done. All right, so let's do, I put it in its own separate router.js. And did something super simple. Sending request.body to the database API. think, but am uncertain. Think that is all that I need, but am a bit uncertain. Now, the one thing I haven't done is I haven't written a test for this thing yet. And honestly, I should have written the test, like, prior, most likely. Let's do router dot dash test dot js, and then let's say const router const routes equals require, and then we're gonna say up a level, and then we're gonna say src, and then we're gonna say router. And we're gonna say describe sends status. Status is as expected. And then let's create, there we go. Let's create a fat arrow and a thing and a thing, and then we're gonna say it, and actually this should be my it. First route. And then we're gonna do another fat arrow, and we're gonna do here, and then we're gonna say okay. Expect status dot to be 200, and ESLint can go away right now. All right, so let's see what happens when I call npm test. Oh. Yeah, this doesn't actually describe anything. And also I don't export this. Okay. All right, so let's say routes dot okay. think I don't know if I'm doing this right. Honestly. Let's go with this one. Okay. And then I think I did status code earlier. So let's go with that one. But I mean, again, I did something different here. Okay, let's try it. Maybe I got it wrong. Okay, I have a failing test. Okay. Let's say first failing test. And then we're going to say adding export of router. And I'm pretty sure my test is what? My test is not written as well as it ought to be. Again, I'm kind of still getting used to writing tests. Okay, I think it's time for a little bit of a break. Um, I'm sorry, excuse me. I will be back in about 5 minutes or so. So I will see you soon. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. So, welcome. Sorry about the long break. I was trying to run a particular errand. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so let's see here. Um, okay, right now, I think we've got our first route. Um, so what we don't have is we don't have a really good test. So why don't we do this? Why don't we say test express routes jest? Uh, okay. Ooh, the Stack Overflow could be really cool. Okay. First endpoint. Oh wow, this is a lot more complex than I thought it would be. Request app. Okay, so I feel like I'm missing something here. So routes.post. So it's route.post to the home directory, but I'm not sure how to call that. And that actually is looking like more like an integration test than a unit test is the other thing that I'm kind of confused about. So let's see here. Okay, this is a lot more complex than I thought it would be. Okay, so this is using Supertest and Mocha, And again, I'm not sure if this is routes.post. Okay, so there's a structure here that you're supposed to follow, right? Okay, I'm actually really, really happy I'm doing this because I'm actually recalling what I'm supposed to be doing here. Okay, so okay, so let's talk about what the structure is first. Set up data that you expect. Call function with data you're passing in. Set up expected response. Okay. I don't know if that's what I should be doing, but that's kind of like what I mean. I feel like that. Okay. Okay. I don't know if this is what I should be doing, but okay. So let's try it again, shall we? I'm not sure if that's actually what I should be doing, but find out. Let's try it again, shall we? Response is not defined, which I kind of expected. Okay. So I'm not sure. Okay, so what we're gonna type in, I'm also not completely certain how to write an appropriate test for this. Okay, great. I feel like I've made good progress. I mean, it's not perfect, of course. And let me switch to the video so I'm not just like talking with no background. Okay, so I feel like I've less progress than I would like to. I would have liked to like finish it off. That being said, I feel like I kind of got a good idea of what I'm doing. I definitely need to do more reading on the testing, um, and probably some of the jest um, paperwork and things like that, and get a better sense of what testing a route looks like. Because a lot of the examples are looking more like integration tests, which is fine, but I'm not sure if that's what they should be doing. Um, because at least I want to test for that status, and that's the important thing to me. Um, and yeah, so I think that's kind of where I'm at. So hopefully between now and then I will be able to make that happen. Um, so I'll be streaming tomorrow at hopefully about 8:30, definitely 9 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm gonna tweet that too. All right. Thank you for watching, whether recorded or not, or live, and I hope you have a great day.